The city of Jacksonville has a long history of success in a variety of areas from sports, business to music, and now we can add Poetry National Champion to our list of winners. We are pleased to be joined by Douglas Anderson Sr., Niveah Glover, the 2024 Poetry Out Loud National Champion. Niveah, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. What does it mean to be called a national champion?
Very, very interesting. I love poetry, so I never really think of it as competition. Just think of it as doing what you love. So very surreal to be called a national anything.
Where did your love of poetry begin? How did it sort of blossom, and how has Douglas Anderson helped foster that love?
So my love of poetry began when I was very, very young, 12 years old actually, and my love of poetry actually began in another institution, Jacksonville Arts and Music School, which was one of the electives that I decided to take there, which was spoken word poetry. And from there, they helped me to kind of catapult me into DA, which has definitely helped me refine a lot of the things that I do on stage and my writing and everything involved with that.
We're taking a look right here as you were named the national champion. What was it like to be there for the award ceremony, to present a poem in front of so many people, and again, to be crowned the best?
It was so amazing to meet everyone. You know, there's like 50 plus students from all over the United States, including some of our territories. So just to be in the room with them and their families, and of course the guests who were joining us, was very interesting. I've done poetry in front of large crowds before, but not that large. It was people there and watching at home, so it's like extra big. But it was a very fun experience.
Very cool. Poetry Out Loud is presented by the National Endowment for the Arts and Poetry Foundation. So Niveah, how important is poetry in your life? Do you find yourself just kind of venturing into the world of words, as it were?
Poetry is my life, which is very funny to say, but poetry is one of those things that definitely saved me a lot of times. It gives me energy and it allows me to really just express everything I'm feeling. I want to be a poet and a playwright with my life, so I think poetry has always been there for me, and so I respect the art form more than anyone will ever know.
Well, in honor of your respect for the art form that you love, we'd like to give you the opportunity right now here live on First Coast News to read a poem. And I understand this is one that you wrote yourself?
Yes, this is one that I wrote myself.
Okay. Now, while you dial everything up, what is the poem called? When did you write it? And I guess I want to ask the meaning behind it because we're going to hear it. But when did you write it? How long did it take to write?
So this is a free verse poem called Poor Black Math, and I wrote it it's been about a year ago. It's one of the poems in my poetry book that I've been working on and revising. Soon to publish it. I'm very excited about that. But it is a poem about racial disparities, kind of also talking about economic disparities and how that affects children.
Well, fascinating. This is an original Niveah Glover poem here live on air. Take it away.
Poor Black Math. When I see a black mama count out her last $7 to buy a loaf of bread, I times that by how many mouths she could be feeding, and divided by how many hours it took her to make that $7. Or the number of times her rent went up because of economic equations and variables like property taxes and inflation. I think, how long will struggle take to settle, rise, and bake in the body of some snag-a-tooth black child? If the lights have been off for 3 days, how long will it take before someone offers a candle, a flashlight, assistance to a blue-collar worker who never asked for much but a roof, clothes, times to build? I count times tables, do long division for all the poor black children who can't focus in algebra class because this is the 3rd time in an 8-hour day they've been asked, how many times will I have to let you borrow a pencil?
Very powerful poem. When you read that back to yourself, how proud are you of a poem like that you wrote?
I'm very proud. I mean, I'm very proud. Like, you know, my lovely poetry teacher, Miss Tiffany Melanson always says, go so deep into yourself, you speak for everyone. And I think that that is, what I try to do with poetry. All of my poems, I'm a little bit nitpicky because of course I'm the artist writing them, but all of my poems have a special place in my heart somewhere. Even poems I didn't write, which you can see in Poetry Out Loud, because I'm doing poems that are not mine, but I still love the same.
Well, Niveah, we can't wait for your book to be published. When it does, let us know. We'll bring you back. We'll talk about all that. But Niveah Glover, a Douglas Anderson Senior and Poetry Out Loud national champion, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
this morning.
for having me.
We're back after this.